The vigorous pursuit of the transformational agenda for the country by the federal government has been significantly realized as a result of the proactive administrative excellence and leadership exhibited by the federal ministers, their ministries, agencies, and parastatals in virtually every critical sector. What's the scorecard this week? Let's find out on the Ministers platform right away. You're welcome. News information across various federal ministries is next on Ministry News. The Federal Ministry of Transportation has set up a technical working group for the management and possible dredging of Escravos, Onitsha and Barrow Port channels on the Public-Private Partnership PPP arrangement. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Jaji Sambo, who made this disclosure during the inauguration of the group in Abuja, described the nation's inland waterways as an economic potential capable of revolutionizing the contribution of the sector to the country's gross domestic product. Sambo further said that a good channel will enable the transportation of containerized and other cargoes for shipping efficiency in Nigeria. In a related development from the transportation sector, the national president of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Tajuddin Barua, on behalf of the union, has declared full support for the Federal Ministry of Transportation Mass Transit Scheme that will make available new vehicles for commercial drivers in the country, promising to partner with the federal government to see to its success. The NURTW national chairman made this declaration known when he led some national officers on a courtesy visit to the Minister of State for Transportation, Prince Ademola Adegoroye, in Abuja. On his part, the Minister of State for Transportation commended the NURTW for its belief in the project, noting that the scheme will be involving banks, insurance companies, and other critical stakeholders to enable it realize its set objectives. The Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, assured that the huge credit scheme by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company as well as the Sukuk Fund, many challenges of funding of roads projects will be mitigated in 2023. Fashola spoke during an inspection of the ongoing rehabilitation of outstanding sections of major road projects in Oyo and Ogun states. The minister promised the local contractor handling one of the roads that when the 2023 budget and 2022 Sukuk are being considered, the government will be able to accommodate the 4 billion naira needed to complete the remaining part of the construction work. And still from the Ministry of Works and Housing, the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, during the week said the priority of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is to open the second Niger Bridge to traffic by December this year. The minister, who spoke in a chat with the media, added that the entire stretch of the bridge has been completed. The bridge, which was conceived years ago before the Buhari administration came on board, became a reality following a decision of the federal government through the Ministry of Works and Housing to ensure that a new bridge is put in place to complement the existing one, which is over 50 years old. In a related development from the Ministry of Works, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has warned members of the public against payment of tolls on federal highways, saying it has not authorized anyone to collect tolls on the highways. In a notice signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Bashiru Alkali, on Thursday, the government warned that anyone caught in the unlawful act will be prosecuted. The Federal Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, has unveiled 4 renewable energy policies to foster renewable energy growth in the country. It made a disclosure to power stakeholders during the Nigeria Energy Conference held at Landmark Event Center, Lagos. The permanent secretary of the Power Ministry, Tope Fashedimi, representing the minister, noted that the present administration was working towards ensuring that Nigerians benefit from the right energy policies. He outlined the 4 renewable policies, which are namely National Renewable Energy and Efficiency Policy, National Renewable Energy Action Plan, National Energy Efficiency Action Plan, and Sustainable Energy for All Action Agenda. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Richard Adebayo, recently received the report of the Technical Committee on the rejection of Nigerian agro-export in the international market, particularly the European market. Speaking while presenting the report to the Minister in Abuja, the Director, Commodity and Export in the Trade Ministry and Chairman of the committee, Suleiman Audu, said the committee noted the major concerns such as food safety, technical barrier, non-adherence to best practices, and disregard to basic requirements as largely responsible for the rejection of Nigeria's agro-exports abroad.
Government cannot do it alone. Therefore, the cooperation of the private sector and other non-state actors will be critical in achieving the objective for which your committee was put in place. Suffice to state that the recommendations of the Technical Committee are to be driven by the private sector, with the government providing the enabling environment.
The chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, Victor Muruako, has requested the assistance of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy in attaining effective discharge of the Commission's mandate. This is to further position the Fiscal Responsibility Commission as a leading voice in fiscal policy initiatives with cutting-edge skills in information technology. Mr. Muruako, who commended the minister for a job well done, made his request during the Kutsa visit to the minister, Dr. Isa Ibrahim Pantami. Responding, Professor Pantami gave kudos to the FRC chairman for initiating the partnership with his ministry, saying that ICT is no longer a standalone sector, but a key enabler of other sectors of the Nigerian economy. Worried by the poor state of healthcare delivery in Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta Minister, Umana Okonumana, has disclosed plans by the ministry to establish medical centers across rural communities in the region. Speaking during a medical outreach in Insit Ubiom, Akwa Ibom State on Thursday, Umana said the envisaged medical facilities will give people at the grassroots access to basic healthcare facility and critical modern medical services. Represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Olufunsho Adebiyi, Umana explained that the outreach was an expression of the Ministry's mandate and aspiration to improve human development indices of people in the region. And finally, on Ministry News, in recognition of his unprecedented performance in digital transformation and national identity program of the federal government, the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, has been awarded by Abia State Government as the best performing digital minister of the year 2022. The award, which was received on behalf of the minister, is to commend him on the good works he has been doing at the ministry, especially in developing Nigeria's digital economy through promoting the use of digital platforms. The event was part of activities to mark the International Identity Day 2022, organized by the Abia State Government. From the presidency, this week comes latest official engagements and activities of Mr. President. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday in New York vowed to entrench a process of free, fair, transparent and credible elections through which Nigerians elect leaders of their choice. In his farewell speech to the United Nations General Assembly as president, he told the 77th session that next year there will be a new face speaking for Nigeria from the podium of the Assembly Hall. The president used his speech to strongly reiterate his commitment to constitutional term limits and Nigeria's effort to promote rule of law and democracy in West Africa, citing the country's support to the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau and Chad during the political impasse. The president equally used the occasion to call for debt cancellation for developing countries, noting that it poses severe challenges to the affected nation.
We have invested heavily to strengthen our framework for free and fair elections. As president, I have set the goal that one of the enduring legacies I would like to leave is to entrench a process of free, fair, and transparent, credible election through which Nigerians elect their choice.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday in New York told foreigners that Nigeria's economy is ripe for increased investment. This was as he lamented the reduced private capital inflows, especially foreign direct investment for infrastructure and national resources access projects. The president, who acknowledged security to be a critical element for investment flow, pledged that his government will do more to improve security in the area of improving energy. He restated his government's commitment to develop a rapid and strategic transition to renewable energy in response to the worldwide efforts for the preservation of the environment. President Muhammadu Buhari Wednesday called on African countries and their Arab partners to work hard to be more united to realize common objectives. Speaking at a bilateral meeting with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, in New York, President Buhari said the actualization of the UN resolution, which proposed a two-state solution to the crisis between Israel and Palestine, required a platform to think creatively on how to engage the rest of the world on the matter. President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to make further consultations on the demands by the striking Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU). The president made the promise after meeting with the chairman and select members of pro-chancellors of federal universities on Friday at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Some of the demands include the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement payment of earned academic allowance, the inconsistencies occasioned by IPPIS, and demand for the replacement of the payment platform with the University Transparency Accountability Solution (UTAS), among others. And finally, from the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed Mr. Saliu Dembos as the Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA). Until his appointment, Mr. Dembos was the Executive Director, Marketing of the NTA. The Ministry of Interior is charged with the key responsibility of internal security in Nigeria. Under the able leadership of the Minister, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, has the ministry fulfilled its mandate? What are the significant efforts and initiatives taken so far? And what are equally the challenges of the ministry? Let's talk with the minister. You're still watching the Minister's Platform, a program that, of course, gives a voice to the federal ministries of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And today we're going to be looking at a very strategic federal ministry that, of course, is saddled with the responsibility of internal security in Nigeria. And so it's our pleasure to welcome the Minister of Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, who is going to be telling us about the major significant achievements of his ministry. We're here to also verify and ascertain the level of efforts and initiatives the ministry, under the able leadership of the minister, has taken to position the Ministry of Interior. You're welcome, sir, to the program.
Thank you for the opportunity of engaging with Nigerians.
It was a pleasure, sir. What is the internal security master plan and policy direction of the ministry for the much desired transformational change in the country?
On assumption of office in August of 2019, we rallied the leadership and staff of the ministry and the agencies, services that are with us to fully understand the mission of the ministry and its strategic role in protecting Nigerians, ensuring their safety and securing both their lives and property and the territorial integrity of the Nigerian space. So by the end of the 6th month, we organized the first ever ministerial retreat. The theme of the retreat is driving performance in achieving the presidential mandate in Nigeria's internal security. At that retreat, which was the first ever the ministry will ever put together, we mobilized both the ministry and the agencies to just even know what their own knowledge of their roles are on the mandate of the ministry, which is safety of Nigerians, internal security, and citizenship integrity. After that, went into developing strategic plans at achieving the broad objective and the limited defined objectives broken into short, medium, and long term. By the first week of October, we'll be launching documents on strategic master plan for internal security in Nigeria, which is a result of all the efforts we have done in developing an intellectual framework based on interaction, position, and understanding of roles of each organs from the main ministry to the Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigerian Correctional Service, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Fire Services. So we are sure that the ministry will meet the objective of safeguarding life and property of Nigerians, as well as collaborating with other security agencies, particularly the military, safeguarding the territorial integrity of the Federation.
There are significant initiatives, programs and efforts of the ministry, especially in the areas of granting of Nigerian citizenship, consular and immigration services, business permits, and expatriate quota since you came into office. We've actually been opportune to read in the print media some of these very, what I call it, gallant efforts. So can you share with us? Nigerians would like to know.
We met a not too suitable procedure for the grant of expatriate quota, which we have reviewed. We have developed a new handbook for expatriate quota administration and the grant of business permits. I equally set up a task force that will ensure enforcement of all the regulations and conditions for the grant of expatriate quota. Being a private business, being government operations, government believes that if Nigerians cannot do a particular job and expatriates are required to undertake such assignments, in registering and granting the permit for such expatriate work in Nigeria for whatever operations, them, even individual, the onus is on that hiring individual or corporations or firm, and even government operation or service to ensure that some Nigerians are equally put through the capacity to take over in the expatriate at the end of the quota given. We set up a task force to enforce that. And I'm confident that that task force is working.
So, Minister, before you came on board, the Ministry of Interior, there was a systemic failure. This is in regards to effective and efficient administrative management and welfare policy of the Nigerian Correctional Services, both for the personnel and inmates. Nigerians would like to know your pragmatic, proactive, and improved efforts in the reform and reintegration of inmates.
First of all, just before I assumed office, a new law was enacted and approved by both the National Assembly and the President, changing the Nigerian penitentiary system from strictly punitive to a correctional one. Part of the old Nigerian Prison Act, we now have Nigerian Correctional Act of 2019. And I happen to be the first minister to administer that law. The law that people under lock and key and leave them to rot in jail recommends that our inmates, the people we handle are not prisoners anymore. They are inmates. They could be convicts or convicted inmates or awaiting trial inmates. Awaiting trial inmates, regrettably, constitute over 70% of those that we have in our custody. Nearly 30% are convicts. We see them as a people deserving of rehabilitation, people worthy of reintegration after their rehabilitation, after their reformation. We believe they are worthy citizens that must go back and play their own role and part in society. Our requirement, our role in managing the awaiting trial inmates is simply custody. It is at their own discretion that they can be part of our reformation, rehabilitation efforts. While we are by law compelled to affect the lives of convicts positively, introduce them to life-changing activities and whatever, not have such authority on the awaiting trial inmates. This is very important because people blame us for the errant activities of the awaiting trial inmates who, after a while, are either left off the hook by the judicial system without conviction. However, within the resources available to us, we are doing our best to ensure that those who are under our care have the best. 456 inmates are doing undergraduate studies. Some have really gotten their first degree. Some are doing NC, some are doing OND and whatever. There are thousands going through secondary education process, thousands doing primary education process, and of thousands engaged in crafts and vocational studies. So, and I want to even use this medium to call on well-meaning Nigerians to support us, striving to meet the requirements, changing the lives, forming the inmates. We can never have enough. We need as much as possible support from those who can. And why must this really be strident? And why must this strike a chord in our mind is simple. The less of criminals we have, the better for all of us. No, sociologically it's impossible not to have criminals. But if we strive to redeem them, it reduces tension and anxiety in society. And we all benefit. To that extent, I want to appeal to well-meaning Nigerians to support the Nigerian Correctional Service in having capacity. It could be a school block, it could be a reading room, it could be provision of books, whatever it is you can do. Most of these things are really done freely. The Nigerian Open University provides the educational thing, you don't pay anything. But we need reading room to even make that possible. Conducive reading facility. There is no limit to the comfort we can provide for them to read. Donate the world-class reading room or classroom, or inmate will not reject it. As to whether we have support, yes, Some individuals support us, but it can never be enough.
Nigerians are aware of your proactive and strategic efforts to provide adequate security for the correctional centers across the country. You've done greatly due to the incessant attack. But why was the recent Kuje Correctional Center attacked by terrorists? Why was it possible? And what efforts is your ministry making to forestall future occurrence?
Any attack on any custodial facility is highly regrettable, and most unfortunate. Why? The custodial facilities are the very end of judicial system or administration of criminal justice system. If the custodial facilities could not hold those that have been convicted by courts of competent authority and jurisdiction, then what is the need to invest so much in the entire administration of criminal justice system, from apprehension, prosecution, trial, and conviction of convicts? What is the purpose if, at the end of the day, they cannot serve their terms? And I share the pain and agony of Nigerians in that regard. However, Kuje Custodial Facility, though a medium security facility, is the most fortified facility in Nigeria. A platoon of soldiers were there before the attack, and they are still there. You have adequate number of various classes of police, people from counter-terrorism to their elite force of mobile operatives. We must not equally forget that a nation with the challenges we have on security must expect breaches like this. It's painful, but the assurance is this: we are developing a more watertight arrangement that will make it almost impossible for anyone to violate our custodial facilities. I've made it clear, times without number, that the custodial facilities are red zones, and that only suicides, those who have cleared their intention to die, will attempt to attack our custodial facilities. All arrangements we made to ensuring that could not work hitherto, but I want to believe that with the new arrangements we have put in place, whoever attempts to violate our custodial facilities will not live to tell the story.
On our ministry, agencies, and parastatals in focus segment this week, we bring you facts you need to know about the Nigerian Correctional Service. The Nigerian Correctional Service is an arm of the criminal justice system domiciled in the Ministry of Interior. The agency is a federal phenomenon, meaning there are no state correctional service in Nigeria. Every custodial center is a federal facility. The service derives its operational powers from the Nigerian Correction Service Act 2019. The duties of the agency is to take into lawful custody all those certified to be so kept by courts of competent jurisdiction, produce suspects in courts as and when due, identify the causes of their antisocial dispositions, set in motion mechanisms for their treatment and training for eventual reintegration into society as normal law-abiding citizens on discharge, and administer prison farms and industries for this purpose, and in the process generate revenue for the government. Their vision is to establish a credible prison service which, through excellent penal practice, seek lasting change in offenders' attitudes, values, and behavior, and ensure successful reintegration into the society. Their mission is to promote public protection by providing assistance for offenders in their reformation and rehabilitation under safe, secure, and humane conditions in accordance with universally accepted standard and to facilitate their social reintegration into society. There have been massive transformation in the service since 1972. It has undergone some reorganization from its modest 3 directorates in 1980 to 6 directorates in 1993. It was removed from the civil service in 1992. It now has a command structure that boasts of 8 zonal commands, 36 state commands, 1 FCT command, 144 prisons including farm centers and 83 satellite prisons. It also has 4 training schools, a staff college and 2 postal institutions. At the level of manpower, the service now boasts of more men of the professions, cutting across medical officers, environmental health officers, sociologists, psychologists, lawyers, general administrators, engineers, and other specialized areas. Currently, the Nigerian Correctional Service is fully modernized, creating the enabling environment for proper treatment and training of offenders. The Nigerian Correctional Service is currently under the able leadership of the Controller General Aliru Nababa.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants.
For like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah, I like this city because of the opportunity, job opportunities. That's why I like the city. And secondly, it's a peaceful city as well.
This is where the center where you have investment and people can buy and sell or do their investment. But if you go to some other states,
Nigeria has a very, very, very beautiful future. We are not caused. It's just a systemic failure on the part of the leadership. And whatever is being caused by one man, another man can correct. What is it that we don't have? Is it the manpower? Is it the resources? Is it the intellect? You can see a lot of Nigerians here, not even those in diaspora.
The truth is, in this same Nigeria, some persons are having it good, some are not. It's just the irony of life. I see in Nigeria that we all hope for. In Nigeria, we are all anticipating. I see a government that is working. It's happening already. Our youths are rising up to the task, and we are all going to get there.
If it's the will of God that this country will unite and progress, there's every tendency that it will progress. But one thing I admonish people to do is that we should forget about ourselves. We should serve selflessly. We should try to incorporate everybody, no matter the tribe, the creed.
We still have hope in Nigeria, that Nigeria will be better. We just hope that God will give us good leader, that they will have mind of helping the citizen in the Nigeria. It should be better. God has given us a lot of good things that if they use it for us, we are enjoying it. So one day we enjoy this country.
On the Ministers platform, we believe that accountability, transparency, and credibility builds trust in the citizenry. That's why we strive every week to keep you abreast on the business of governance at the ministerial level. Thanks for watching.